Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the WCW Saturday Night Edition for the second of um, March 19 and 91. We continue our foray through 91. Got some good stuff for 1990 as well. Never really saw much of 1990 and I'm beginning to realize that my first exposure to WCW, at least on Syndicate, was 1991, not 1992, like I thought, because some of this stuff I do remember very little, but some. Anyway, this is the March 2nd edition, featuring an opening clip from the recent Ron Simmons and Barry Windham match at the Omni, including an opening segment with Jim Ross, Paulie Dangerously, and Missy Hyatt, in which Dangerously said he would interview Sid Vicious, and Hyatt would interview Simmons later in the show, featuring Ross and Dangerously on commentary, including Ross conducting an interview with Brian Pillman, his shoulder heavily taped up following Wrestle War 91, in which there's a feature segment on the wrestling wrap-up hosted by Gordon Solie, in which Solie said that Tatsumi Fujinami beat Riki Choshu at the Tokyo Dome to earn a match with the WCW champion Ric Flair. Footage is shown of the bout in which Fujinami won a leg roll into a bridge. Solie then said that Fujinami Flair would air on pay-per-view in April. Solie then introduced footage of Wrestle War, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin winning the tag team titles, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons splitting up, Nikita Koloff attacking the U.S. champion Lex Luger, and Pillman performing in War Games, including footage also of Reed costing Simmons a recent match with Barry Windham at the Omni, after which Reed attacked Simmons and held him down so that Teddy Long could whip him, featuring Missy Hyatt also conducting a ringside interview with Simmons, in which he spoke about what made Doom a success and said that Reed and Long couldn't maintain hard work to keep the belts during their training. And then a return to the ring featuring Sid Vicious, who comes out wheeling a stretcher and a guest Danger Zone, in which he discusses Vicious' attack on Pillman at Wrestle War and the interference of El Gigante. All that to say, there's a lot of backstory here. Tracy, Smothers, and Steve Armstrong defeat Brian Carr and Snake Watson 5:59 when Smothers pins Watson following a missile dropkick. As Armstrong held Watson in the air during the bout, it's noted that WCW would be in Atlantic City, New Jersey, the following evening. Smothers and Armstrong at the time, pretty, I wouldn't say fully hyped team, but a good enough team here. Obviously, Smothers and Armstrong, the Young Pistols, managing to do everything they can do to get things going in their general direction here. And without a doubt, they are trying the best of their ability to keep things going in a positive direction. So much of the this particular run includes a build to future stories. Just an interesting thing. And again, the program opens with that Barry Windham deal there, followed by that Tracy and Steve being in a more competitive environment, as it were. Hard kicks and the other from Tracy and Steve, double arm ringers, and this is months before their heel turn. Not that anybody really saw that coming, but without a doubt, they are trying to do everything they can do to keep things going in their general direction here. Um, you know, big arm bars and other basic maneuvers by none other than Smothers and Armstrong, who continue to run. Ranger Ross out doing the U.S. military gimmick, which I've never been a fan of military gimmicks, regardless of the country, just because I think it takes entertainment into nationalistic pride stuff, which to me is goofy. We have enough war and issues in the country, in various countries, without turning nationalism into what people are going to be focused on. So it's just goofy to me. But anyway, enhancement match, or not an enhancement match, Buddy Landell is the opponent for the day. Buddy Landell coming out of, I believe, probably Memphis at the time. Landell, probably one of the biggest, just, guys who doesn't necessarily get everything done in the right way there. Um, then again, you kind of get uh, Ranger Ross with the big back body drop and trying to keep everything together on Buddy Landell. Landell slides to the outside, keeping things going his way, and ultimately managing to get things going in a positive direction. Landell also managing to get have the uh, York Foundation, Terry Taylor, and Alexander York at ringside. I did not know the York Foundation went all the way back in 1991, which is why I must have seen at least that, because I do remember the York Foundation being one of the first WCW memories I had at the time. Roll up by Ranger Ross, the kind of roll. The York Foundation takes their shots at Ross on the outside. Ross is a guy they were really trying to push at the time. Buddy Landell hits the corkscrew elbow, gets a victory there. Then we see a Sid Vicious match here. Vicious coming out and trying to get advantages wherever he can. Sid Vicious looking like $1,000,000 at the time. The enhancement talent of the moment happening to be, let me just double check here. Sid Vicious defeating, of all people, Mark Merrow. And yes, that Mark Merrow, 249. And again, you kind of have a very short match. Powerbomb, 2 EMTs put Merrow on the stretcher at ringside. Vicious hits Merrow over the back with a steel chair and knocks him off of the stretcher. To think that Mark Merrow, in less than a few months actually, is back doing the Johnny B. Bad gimmick. Just interesting that Dusty Rhodes would and Dusty Rhodes had a knack of doing this, taking in enhancement talent and putting them in gimmicks. Big Bubba, the other major exception or qualifier of that. As mentioned earlier, the wrestling wrap-up with Gordon Soley's up next. Soley certainly trying to put everything in perspective for the fans who are listening/watching that deal. Anyway, then we see a enhancement match with the tag team champions, the Freebirds, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. Diamond Dallas Page and the Diamond Dolls also out for the support of that tandem here. And again, kind of Hayes and Garvin trying to get things going their way. They aren't exactly able to do it. But again, Hayes and Garvin with Big Daddy Dink defeating Brad Armstrong, Tim Horner, 556. Garvin pinning Armstrong after it's a DDT behind the referee's back. Armstrong has Garvin covered, so they do the switch quite a bit. Dink comes out with one of the Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dolls returns backstage during the match. Hayes and Garvin. Again, Garvin, at the time, I think Garvin's best stuff is his world-class stuff. I don't know that I really like Jimmy Garvin in the WCW role. I don't know that him as a Freebird ever really caught on, although I would prefer him over most of the tag teams today, just in terms of the value. Bobby Eaton does it again, bringing a enhancement talent to his level. Bobby Eaton managing to go with Ricky Nelson, beating with an Alabama Jam, 8 minutes 46 seconds during the Vats. Note Eaton debut a new finishing move the following week on TV taping in Macon, Georgia. I don't exactly know what that new finishing move would be. I don't think they ever really hyped it as a new finisher. Again, Bobby Eaton, months removed from his challenging of Ric Flair for the World Championship at the time, just kind of floundering around, although I don't think he ever expected the Midnight Express to be over at that point. Then we go to, again, the Missy Hyatt, Ron Simmons deal there. Or actually, that's right before. Bobby Eaton, though, managing to be a decent enough singles guy. Eaton always needed someone to do his talking for him. Quite honestly, Eaton comes in with a backbreaker and tries to take Ricky Nelson, his opponent, down at a level, but also gives him enough to keep the match going longer than many could have. Takes him to the outside clothesline on the floor, other basic maneuvers, and Bobby Eaton continues to be in control pretty dominantly throughout the match, but giving the enhancement talent just enough to give him a few hope spots. Eaton managing to get the victory soon thereafter and managing to do what he can where he can, and Eaton manages the neckbreaker and the Alabama Jam. Eaton also is in pretty cool competition there. We then see a go around of a tag team match. Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker and James Earl Wright, the State Patrol, coming in. State Patrol facing off against at this particular juncture. The tag team here of Big Josh and Tommy Rich. 624, Josh pinning right after a running double axe handle and a sit down splash prior to the bout. Josh and Rich cuts an inset promo, basically hyping their wonder at the coming up Omni show. Again, this is a super basic match. Tommy Rich, just 10 years after winning the World Championship, really doesn't even look like the same guy. Lex Luger is your U.S. champion. He's out there in a very quick match with Doug Vines. Punch, kick, a couple of clotheslines, and the torture rack. During the bout, it's announced Luger would defend against Sid Vicious at the Omni. The following commercial break, Jim Ross conducts a ringside interview with Luger regarding the challenge of Koloff and the attack he sustained at the Wrestle War pay-per-view. Luger basically saying that he does not agree with what's been done there and that he is going to uphold being the U.S. champion. Very basic promo, and Luger at the time not exactly a promo star by any stretch of the imagination. Rick and Scott Steiner defeating Joe Bruce and John Peterson 209 when Scott makes the pin following a Frankensteiner. Early in the match, Steiner's cuts an inset promo in which they said they were after the WCW Tag Team Champions, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. Also during the bout, it's noted that the Tag Team Champions, whether it be the Freebirds or the Steiners, would be part of the Tokyo Dome show later. Obviously, the Steiners, Rick Steiner hits a couple Steiner lines. Scott Steiner hits a few suplexes, the belly-to-belly suplex off the middle rope on the inside, and the Frankensteiner, the main way to finish the match. Then we go to Dan Spivey pinning Larry Santo with a sidewalk slam, 2 minutes 28 seconds. During the bout, it's noted Spivey would face Big Josh the following week at the Omni. Dan Spivey at the time, kind of a guy who they brought back, and I think they were trying to give him something to do with himself, but at the same time, he wasn't really in line to do anything major, and he doesn't stay very long. He's here for about 6 to 9 months, if that, and ultimately out the door again. Spivey managing a sidewalk slam as a victory point. Of course, he's better known for his work in Japan along with Waylon Mercy and his brief run as part of the U.S. Express, 1986 or so. So Spivey's still struggling to find his place in wrestling, which frustrates me because the Waylon Mercy thing shows that he understands character development. Dustin Rhodes pins Jeff Sword with a Bulldog, 2 minutes 50 seconds during the bout. It's noted that Rhodes would be part of the Tokyo Dome show later in the month. Deep arm drags, couple of punches, lariat, and a Bulldog for Dustin Rhodes. Rhodes also gets a crossbody in there somewhere and gets a pretty basic run there. Sting defeating Sting and El Gigante, more accurately, defeating a enhancement tag team known as Magnum Force. 1 minute 28 seconds. Sting forces a submission with a Scorpion Deathlock. During the match, it's noted that Sting would face Ric Flair at a steel cage match at the Omni with Gigante as the guest referee. Moments later, Flair and Barry Windham join on commentary, and Gigante eventually fighting them off while the match ended. After the bout, Sting joins the fight and takes Flair down to the sunset flip in the ring. Gigante then covers Flair and counts the 3 count. Basically, Flair and Sting still almost 3 years later. It's probably the biggest feud WCW had ever had at that point. We will be back with more right after this.